Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video with a lovely view behind me of the Tyne Bridge down here on the Gateshead side at By the River Brew, having a few drinks on my Friday night. But I thought I'd come over and talk to you guys because it's now being reported that Newcastle have made some big steps in the direction of signing the Leicester player Harvey Barnes. We've been talking about this guy for a couple of weeks now. In fairness, you could possibly say a month or so. Really, since the James Maddison links came out, there's also been links to Harvey Barnes, the left-sided player for Leicester, who got relegated. I mean, they let go of a handful of players, didn't they, at the end of the season? They are having a real refresh. Maddison's moved to Spurs, and you imagine Harvey Barnes was one of the players that would want to keep his Premier League status. Heavily linked with West Ham, heavily linked with Villa, links to Newcastle, but nothing massive. It actually looked like he was going to go to West Ham about a week ago. And then, as I say, in the kind of last week and a half, things have started to creep in again. Being reported that Newcastle were reigniting their interest in the player. It was then reported by the Daily Mail, by the Telegraph. The Guardian were reporting yesterday that he could well be valued at around £50 million for the move. The fee is meant to be around 45 million, so you guys can let me know your thoughts on the price. But the big news coming out and reports this evening are that Newcastle have been in contact with the player and have reportedly agreed personal terms. So this is one that's kind of, as I say, was slowly moving along, not too much going on, and then bang, like we've seen with a lot of the Newcastle transfers, is suddenly right in your face and could well be happening very, very soon. It's a player that I think has had a bit of a mixed response from the fans. I think with the finale coming into St James's Park, everyone's very excited about that one. I don't know if Harvey Barnes is necessarily the 5-star in the sky, name and lights that Tonali is, but he scored 13 goals for Leicester last season. That's only 5 less than Wilson. It's more than Isak. It's more than Almiron. I mean, a player scoring 13 goals in a team that got relegated. Imagine playing in a Newcastle side who were aiming for Champions League football. You'll have way more of the ball. You'll have way more chances on goal. Someone like him coming in, and if you added 13 goals to our season, that is the difference between us getting 4th and 3rd. Next season, it could well be the difference between a Newcastle side getting into Europa or a Newcastle side getting into Champions League again. So yeah, it's an exciting one. As I say, I think it has had a bit of a mixed response, but I think generally speaking, he's an Eddie Howe player. I think that's why Eddie Howe has been interested in this guy for a little while, and we know what Eddie Howe's like. Once he gets his thoughts on a player, or once he gets his interest on a player, he goes through with it. And as I say, the reports coming out that Newcastle have agreed terms with the player, and who knows, maybe we could see him in a black and white shirt very soon. I think it's been quite big for Newcastle this summer window that we go out and try and get stuff done early. You know, we haven't got long left in terms of before we get into the pre-season. We still have quite a long left of the summer window, but to have players in early so that they can go out and train with Eddie Howe and learn from Eddie Howe. And I think Newcastle having Champions League is big. It's a big pull. I think what's also big is Eddie Howe has built himself quite the reputation as a manager who was making players better. You know, when we brought Eddie Howe in, there was a few question marks. Was he right? Was he wrong? I don't think any Newcastle fan can disagree that it was the right move, and it's worked really, really well. What he's done not only to the players he's brought in, but the players we already had, he's made them so much better. Harvey Barnes must be looking at that going, chance for Champions League football and a chance to play in a side who's made players way better. So it's exciting. It's a player that I am interested in. It's one that I hope to see maybe get done and dusted before we even get into pre-season. Before we, as I say, I'm on the right side of the river for this one. Before we literally head over down the road to go and play Gateshead in our first pre-season friendly in literally a week's time. They reckon the lads will be back into training probably, if not this weekend, certainly the start of this upcoming week. And yeah, I think Harvey Barnes is a guy who will add numbers to a side. You know, you talk about Almiron and someone who had that fantastic 10 games, you know, you want more consistency and you want a player who will add numbers. And I don't want to pick on any player, but Maxi didn't start every game, so that's on his side. But he got 1 goal in the season. Harvey Barnes got 13. So it's adding numbers, and I think it's a player who works hard. I mentioned it earlier in the video. It's an Eddie Howe player. It's someone who will work hard, will fight for what he wants. And Eddie Howe likes that. He likes players who want to work harder and want to learn. And he's also quite versatile as well. I know there's quite a lot of talk on if Harvey Barnes comes in, how many left-sided players do we need in this side? Do we need another one? We've already got Gordon, who's in fairness ripping it up for the England under-21s right now. I think it's great to see him actually go out there and maybe get a bit of confidence. I think since we kind of brought him in, he hasn't really been able to get in the side as quickly as maybe we would have wanted. He hasn't been able to maybe break into the side like maybe most expected. I'm hoping that this under-21s Euros will not only help him get a bit of a confidence boost, but it'll help him get a bit of match fitness, a bit of form. And Gordon came out at the end of the season and said that he didn't believe he was fit enough, and that's kind of what slowed him down on getting in this side. I think it is that, but I also think it's learning the Eddie Howe way. Longstaff is a player who works really hard and he knows the system. Eddie Howe does play a system. I think Harvey Barnes is a guy who will work hard to play that system. And he is, as I said, he's versatile. I know we talk about having a million left-sided players. We might have to just go, Maxi, I know you don't want to, but maybe you could go and have a try on the right for a change. Harvey Barnes can really play left or right. You could probably play in the 10 as well. You could probably slide into one of, if it's like Willock and Joe Linton do on the left, kind of one here, one there. You could probably fill in both of those sides and maybe out on the right as well. So yeah, it's one I like. It's one that I'm hoping we could see some serious progress on. As I've said, it has been quite heavily reported in the last 24, 48 hours. We will have to see what happens. Interestingly enough, it was reported in The Athletic that a lot of the big Barella talk was a smoke screen for us to go behind the scenes and bring in Tonali. So, here's us getting excited about it. Harvey Barnes. Could it be that there's other stuff at play in the background as well? And it's very, very possible. But I think the main things are that Newcastle are clearly out there. We're clearly working hard, and we are trying to make things happen this summer window. Let me know your thoughts on Harvey Barnes down below. The potential of him joining Newcastle and the fee as well. I mean, that's one thing that's caught a few people's eyes. I think when you're talking 25, 30 million, I think Premier League proven player who scored 13 goals. He's always going to come with a bit of a price tag. Once you're starting to talk 40, 45, 50 million, it's suddenly starting to sound quite heavy. But is that just the way football is? And is that just the way it's going to be for a Newcastle side, who everybody knows has got loads of money? We better go and charge them a fortune. You let me know your thoughts on Harvey Barnes down below, guys. I'm going to go back over there and enjoy the rest of my Friday night. I hope you guys are having a good one as well. Have a great weekend. Thank you for watching. Thoughts on Harvey Barnes down below. Big up the tune, and I'll catch you later.